What up, world? How y'all doing out there? You might be watching this video in the morning, midday, or late night. No matter when you're watching, I hope you're in good spirit and in good health. But before we get into our next segment, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. You can even share it if you want to. Thank you. Appreciate it. Today, I want to talk about what do you do when your plans aren't going how you expect them to go? What do you do when your plans aren't going how you expect them to go? What do you do? How long does it take for you to say, I quit, I give up? Is there a time limit? 3, 4 months, 6 months, a year, 2? What do you do if your plans are not going how you want them to go at the moment? You know what I'm saying? So you have to make a decision about what to do. For me, I would say keep going. Who's putting a time limit on when your plan should fall in place? You know what I'm saying? Like, some take longer than others. Might not take as long as you. Might take longer than you. Focus on yourself, your plans, your goals, your situation. No matter what that may be. You know what I'm saying? So I would say it's a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Don't put a time limit on your plans, and for things to fall in place for you, but kind of put a time limit on it, because you don't want to be doing the same thing forever. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be at this forever in the same position on the same level. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a yin and yang. You dig what I'm saying? Put a time limit on it, but not really, if that makes sense. So, every day you got to do what you got to do to work towards whatever it is you're working towards. Time waits for no one. I mean no one. You know what I mean? So it's not a rush, but kind of a. So you have to find that middle, right? That sweet spot. You know what I mean? You have to be like, okay, well, if this don't happen by this time, I need to step it up or do more by this time. But then you be like, well, it takes a little longer for this to process, for this to go through. So that's why my situation is taking a little bit longer, especially if you got other people you're depending on, you're on other people's time, stuff like that, So when your plans aren't going how you expect them to go, you have an alternate route. So switch it up a little bit. If it's not working this way, switch it up a little bit and do something different to make happen what you need to happen to get where you want to be. You know what I mean? So when you have things going on and you're not by yourself and you have a team and you're on other people's time, your plans aren't typically gonna go how you expect them to go, because you have different people in different parts of this machine that you're operating. It's not solely dependent on you and your time, because you have to be respectful and you have to be mindful of other people's time, their lives, their livelihoods, situations. Things might happen in their lives that set you back. You have to think about all of these things. So that's why I say you can't just really put a time limit where I'm gonna have this done in 3 weeks. Something might happen in 3 weeks with somebody that you're depending on. So you just can't really put a time frame on it, but you can put a time frame on it. So you just have to find that delicate spot, to make things happen. So when it comes to your situation, when it comes to you trying to do things and build and all this other good stuff, you're gonna run into some problems. You're gonna run into some situations, and you have to take the good with the bad, so to speak. You know, um, and when I say bad, I mean it didn't work out like this today. It didn't work out like that last week. You know, that's the bad. But you're learning from each one of those situations where it didn't work out. Now you know what to do. Now you know how to play the game. You know what I mean? Now you know who you can trust and who's you reliable. So it's a learning process. I wouldn't say necessarily it's a loss, but it's a learning process. You know what I'm saying? So take everything that you learn, the whole situation, and do better with it. Do more with it or do less with it, but do better with it. You know what I'm saying? So when you plan something, um, you have to strategize. It has to be strategic, and you have to make sure you have all the people in place that needs to be where they needs to be. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a position. Everybody has a situation. Everybody needs to come together. Ultimately, you're the one making the shot, calling the shots. You're the one making the decisions. So now you have to figure out how to get everybody on board and have everybody to come together, separately, but together, if that makes sense. Okay, today the photography. Tomorrow, you have more content that needs to be shot over here as far as videos and stuff like that. This day we have editing. This day we have location. So when these people come together separately, but ultimately come together as one, then it works out a little bit more better for you. You know what I'm saying? So now you have a situation where, okay, the writer needs to be in place. The baker assistant needs to be in place. The editorial, all these, whatever you're doing, if you're building cars, this mechanic that do the motor needs to be in place. This mechanic that does exhaust needs to. Everybody needs to be in place, and it's gonna take the motor guy 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take the interior guy a month. Those are the things you're counting on collectively. You know what I'm saying? But everybody has to come together and do it, try to meet their deadline if nothing happens. If family situations don't happen, if a setback don't happen to where they can't do it, everybody needs to come together. You know what I'm saying? So when you're planning out, if you're not by yourself and you have third party and second parties and all this other stuff going on, then you have to take into consideration that, okay, well, I want this to happen within, you know what I'm saying? Or about 6 months or within 6 months. Somewhere around in that area, you know what I'm saying? It might take a little less than 6 months, but that's your ultimate goal. It might take a little bit more than 6 months, but that's your ultimate goal. So, when things come like that, when you have things like that coming at you, you have to think about people that you put in place. But don't get discouraged. Don't quit. Keep going. Because ultimately, if you keep going, it's going to happen, right? Now, if you stop, that's a for sure that it's never going to happen. That's definite. It's not going to happen if you stop. We know for sure it's not going to happen. But if you keep going, now your chances are way better. Now your chances are way, way better. So you can't let stuff like that stop you. You can't stop having goals and visions and dreaming and stuff like that, man. But don't be like, well, if it doesn't happen in 6 months, I quit. Nah, look, don't. That's not how this thing is gonna go. And then if you do that, like I always say, if you do that, what about the people that surround you, that helped you? You throwing all this away for nothing. And these people are emotionally invested. and their time is invested. You can't do that to other people. So it'll be selfish of you to just quit. So now, what you're gonna do? What you're gonna tell these people that invested in you? Time, money, emotions. They are attached. They are as attached as you are. You know what I'm saying? So when you do that and you be mindful of people's time and their sacrifices that they made, everybody has a part. Everybody's invested. Not just you, but people around you, even your family. So if things aren't going how you want them to go, and things aren't going as planned, don't give up. Don't stop doing what it is that you're doing. Do you understand me? Don't quit. Let that go. Look, it didn't go as planned, y'all. But we got to keep going. It's going to take a little bit more time, a little bit more effort. But let's go. And everybody, not just you, right? Everybody that you have in position, everybody that's on your team has to understand that it's not going to always go as planned. That's the biggest misconception. That's the biggest thing about having other people on your team that, they have to understand might not be 6 months, might be a little longer, but just stick with me. As long as they're willing to stick with you and go through the process, because that's all it is a process. Your goals, your situation, your whatever you're trying to do is being processed. Everything has to be processed, no matter what you're doing, no matter what it is, right? So if you're building a car, it has to be processed. Bakery has to be processed. Everything has a process. You have to go through whatever it is. And don't let it be like this is your first rodeo. Okay, now you're just getting into baking. You don't know anything about baking. You might bake a cake, you might bake biscuits, stuff like that. But once you get into pastry, it's a lot more complicated than just flour, seasons, ingredients, and water, and throw it in the oven, right? It's a lot more that goes into being a pastry maker than just baking a cake. You can look on back of the box. You got your eggs, your milk, your Earl. Okay, cool. Put it in the oven. Whip it up. Okay, so now you're becoming a pastry chef. It's going to be way more than reading them ingredients on the box. You're not even, look, if you're a pastry chef, you're going to start from scratch, right? You're going to start from scratch. No instructions on the box. Now you have to figure out how long to leave the dough out, how much to mix it, how much to it's different. So it's being processed. You know what I'm saying? If you're a mechanic, if you want to build cars, okay, I go change a tire. That's cool. I could change the oil. That's cool. We could do that, right? Let's go. But if you're building a car, that's a different story. You know what I'm saying? So now you're not just changing the tire. You're not just changing the oil. You're not. You know what you have to do? You have to build this motor. So now you got belts, bolts, screws. Bruh, you have so much stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? You might need a carburetor. You know what I'm saying? You might need an alternator. You might need an exhaust system. You might need a dashboard. You're building a car. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need everything to operate this car with. It's going to be different than just changing a tire. You take one bolt out of the bottom, let the oil flow, change out your oil filter, put it back in, listen, it's going to be way different than building a car. You know what I'm saying? So everything is a process. Take that into consideration. Who knows how long it takes to build a car? They might have a 3 month time limit that they want to do it in. But guess what? Your part didn't come in. Now it's 3, 4 days late. That sets you back, right? Now you have a special order for exhaust tips. They didn't come in on time. That sets you back. You have a lot of things that goes into building a car that's gonna set you back. You know what I mean? So now the process is taking a little bit longer. Same way with any situation. All I'm saying is don't give up. Don't give up. You got to keep going. So now you got this car, all these parts laid out. Right? You got manifolds, you got things over here, you got that over there. You got all this stuff laid out. You can't leave it there. What you going to do? You got to keep going because you have to continue to build that motor. You have to continue to, if you have a big motor, now you need a transmission, right? And if you have big rims and stuff on that car, now you gotta, I need a transmission that's gonna turn those wheels. You can't just put in a regular transmission to turn some 26-inch rims. It's gonna tear the car. What you gonna do? So now you got to put this machine together. You got to make sure everything is in place for this car to run and work like you want it to. Right? But now you have nuts and bolts and screws laid out all over the place. You can't leave it there. You got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. So now you got to put it together. And guess what? I guaranteed you, building this machine, you have different people helping you and working on this machine with you. Everybody's invested. Everybody. Right? So if you okay, I'm gonna bake this cake. Now you're like, okay, I'm gonna be a pastry chef. What? Okay, cool. Now you have an assistant. Because now, who's gonna do all this stuff? A pastry chef? You could do it by yourself for a little while. But once your orders start coming in and you get bigger and you grow, now you need an assistant. And you got to make sure they know what they're doing too, because you can't watch every step, every move. You have to trust them. Okay, it need 2.5 cups of flour over here. They only gave you 2 cups. That extra cup is going to cost you. They might be like, that's not a big deal. It's only an extra cup left out. But that extra cup is necessary to make what you're making. Right? So now, as they learn, as you teach them, or if they already know what they're doing, the point is they're invested, and then things are not going as you planned. Now you're ready to quit and give up. You can't. You can't, because these people helping you. That's selfish. That's not fair to them. If you was going to do that, you should have left them people where they were, going about their business. Carry on with their life. They could have been doing something else. So when it comes down to stuff like your plans aren't going as you planned, and it's not in the time frame that you planned, don't give up. You got to keep going. So once you get to that point, everything and everybody is going to be okay. Keep going. Forget the haters. Forget the naysayers. Yes, stay up late. Yes, wake up early. Yes, do all of that. That's what it takes. Yes, okay, yeah, spend 12, 13 hours a day. If you can, on your situation. You know what I'm saying? If you can. But if you can't, when you get off work, your regular job, go put that time in. So you're going to give somebody else 8-10 hours of your time, of your day, working for them, building their business, making them more wealthy, and you go home and give yourself nothing? Come on. You give yourself nothing? That's not how it goes. It shouldn't be like that. If you're trying to build, no matter what you're trying to build, relationships, cars, be a pastry chef, build a business, sell snacks, sell whatever it is, become an executive, whatever you're trying to do. Put time in, put that work in, and treat yourself fairly as far as working on your own business. Or it might not even be a business. Listen, you might be just trying to set your family up so they'll be okay in case something happens. You know what I mean? Come on, it's different things that we can be doing out here that is time consuming, and you invest in your time, and that you're trying to, you might not even want to leave your job. You might just be putting money to the side. You might be just trying to buy some land, property. Whatever it is you're trying to do, don't give up when it don't go accordingly. That's the whole message. Don't give up. Because you got people depending on you, and you have you depending on you. Right? So in the process of all that, handle your business. Keep going. I believe in you. So now you just got to believe in yourself. And until then, keep applying that pressure. And we're going to get the business clear. Yeah.